You know, it's been a long time coming. I've actually wanted to make this video about Fortnite organizations. More so than any other esport out there, the ability to take advantage of younger kids and younger talent is very extreme in this esport right now because they are so young and have probably never seen a lot of contracts out there. And that is why I love when Tfue, a guy of such wide regard, actually comes forward with a clip and tells people, if you're not going to read your contracts, do not sign with an organization for the Fortnite World Cup. So I'll play first for you guys that clip and then explain why I exactly love seeing this kind of thing, especially with such a huge figure coming out and making people very aware of the scumminess that could be going on behind the scenes of some Fortnite organizations.
Listen, dude. If you are in the World Cup or you think you're going to qualify, do not sign to an org unless it says in the contract that they don't take any earnings from tournaments. And if you're in a contract that says that, you need to get a lawyer and get the out of that contract. Because I don't care, bro. None of these orgs are doing anything like...
Is that down?
Even close to like...
The care package?
They're not doing anything like worth like the cut that they're taking, you know what I'm saying? Like, what are they doing? Tweeting out the stream, giving you merch? Like, I don't know. Like, shit ain't worth it. If you win a $3 million and they take, I don't know, let's say a low percent, like 10%, like it's $100,000 on the million. Like, what the for what? So you can rep their name in game? Like, what? Paying these players a salary? Nice, dude. They're giving these kids probably $2 grand a month. And they're gonna take $100,000 or hundreds of thousands of dollars from their tournament winnings. Like, nice, dude. $2 grand a month. Like, some of these players did. Do I keep all my earnings? Yeah. And half the money I win is charity money, but all like the regular tournament winnings, yeah.
Let me first clarify, there are tons and tons of great organizations out there across several esports as well as including Fortnite, but there are definitely tons as well that are trying to at least take a little bit more from the players than other organizations do, and that is why I love Tfue's warning, because we regard his opinions so widely, whether it's complaining about cheaters, whether it's accusing someone of cheating, whether it's calling someone out on YouTube or Twitter or killing Ninja. Whatever he does is taken not very lightly and it goes very public, and that's why I love how many young players are probably looking up to this guy and now reconsidering actually signing with a Fortnite organization, because when we look at these lists across FaZe Clan, especially when you look across like LG and Envy, and I think of course Ghost Gaming, they sign every single player that can actually walk in the game itself. It's extreme to see how they can actually afford to sign all these players, and you certainly know, you saw in the video itself, or you heard in the video, that Tfue can keep his prize pool earnings, and yes, he is one of the best, if not the best player in the world when it comes to Fortnite, so he's probably allowed that extremity, he's probably allowed that, of course, convenience, but I'm sure amongst that list, especially when it comes to a gaming clan like Ghost themselves, when it goes down that list, you know for sure not every player is probably guaranteed the same rights, the same exposure, and the same exact benefits that a guy like Tfue is, which does make a little sense, right? This is a contract. This is a contractual agreement between an organization and a player. Both parties should be benefiting in somehow. When it comes to, I think a lot of us can agree, if a player is looking to sign with an organization, they are certainly trying to get something for themselves out of it that they couldn't before, and I think a lot of these times it can actually end up being a very unfair exchange, especially because, you drop past the organizations I've listed so far. I think there are many teams that do a very good job of having a very small team and probably a very good exposure for their players. Along with that, probably a pretty consistent salary. I look to FaZe, I look to Liquid, I look to Cloud9, but along those lists of people as well and those organizations, we've seen, well, is it really a fair trade for exposure only? Because when you look at a lot of these websites, a lot of these teams out there just simply don't even update their websites. Like Tfue said, what are they doing for you? Are they going to tweet out your stream every now and again, and that's the contractual exchange you agreed to for a possible cut of your prize pool earnings? Is that really worth it for most players? And I would say if you're a top tier player, certainly not. And that's why I love for a guy like Tfue to come out and say, hey, if you are one of the best, if you can qualify for World Cup and truly believe that, then do yourself a favor, do not sign with an organization, or if you do, please, dear God, read the contract and make sure you get at least something out of it, if not more than they do. Because we have seen, even in recent weeks across several esports out there, I'll keep it to Fortnite for this time around. We'll have more on this story probably come next week of AGG. They sign players. They do not pay them any salary, but they have a contract, and that being a buyout for those players when they want to leave of alleged amounts out there about 10K. So if you want to play for this organization and sign a contract, you're not being paid. You get, I guess you could say, some exposure, but if you ever want to move on and play for someone else, that organization will have to pay a whopping fee for you, and that in itself is a very unfair exchange, and I'm sure we are no stranger to seeing those in Fortnite. So I think it's great to have a video like this, or especially Tfue, come out and say, let's avoid these issues. Don't sign with an organization, but if you do, make sure you at least get a nominal amount of exposure. If not that, get a salary, and if you are getting a salary, whether big, whether small, make sure they are not taking your prize pool earnings when it comes to the biggest prize pool event in esports history. Yeah, the next upcoming TI might be a bit bigger. When it comes to all the surrounding funds, though, this is the single largest esport event we will probably see until maybe 2021, if not even further down the line. A grand total of $60 million, of course, $30 million for the event itself. Do not sign your soul away for $1,000 or $2,000 a month, and then they take 10% of your prize pool earnings, and they kick you after the World Cup event is done, and they take more from you than you got from them. Let's try and avoid that at all costs. So read your contracts, guys. Make sure you get more out of it, or at least something out of it that you think you could not get without the organization. And before the World Cup, just very, very much so, be careful, because a lot of you guys are young, upcoming talent. You never seen a contract before. Make sure to have your parents, a legal team, look over this kind of stuff and make sure you get more out of it than you think you could without the organization. As always, my name is Jake. I hope you guys all enjoyed this episode of Fortnite News. More esports news coming all weekend and all next week long. If you guys have any stories you want me to cover, please comment them down below. But as always, guys, have a great weekend. I'll be back here Monday breaking down Fortnite World Cup qualifier number 6, and hopefully it's better than the last 2 weekends were. Until then, take care. I'll see you soon.